Welcome to the MilCom Founders Podcast, where we champion and celebrate military community business founders. In each episode, we will talk with a MilCom business founder to learn how they work through various obstacles and opportunities in business and in life. I'm your host, Rod Loches. Let's meet today's guest. Welcome to the MilCom Founders Forum podcast. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to a veteran founder, Christian Espinosa. Christian is the founder and CEO of Blue Goat Cyber, a company that helps medical device manufacturers protect their devices, and more importantly, protect us, the patients. What makes Christian's story compelling is how personal it is. Christian, if you could just start with the name, rank, serial number, tell a little bit about yourself if you could.
Christian Espinosa, founder of Blue Goat Cyber. It's my second cybersecurity business. I sold one in 2020. Air Force veteran, went to the Air Force Academy. I separated active duty in 1999 and did like the DoD contract work for a while and finally migrated to commercial work, then freelance work. That's when I started my first company in 2014. So it's taken me a while to start my first company. I wish I would have done it sooner.
Understood. I say overnight success takes on average working 10 nights or 10 years overnight. And so it depends. It's usually not a unicorn. It happens very quickly, but I look forward to hearing the story. Christian, on a personal level, what makes you tick? What are you passionate about? Why do you work so hard? What do you like doing?
I like progress. I think progress in general makes people happy. I don't like stagnation. So with me, I feel like I'm progressing if I'm building something new, doing something new, learning something new. That's progress. I feel like with Blue Goat Cyber or my first business, I feel like a business is really, the entrepreneur journey is really personal development wrapped in the context of a business. Because I believe that the business can only grow as much as the founder can grow. That forced growth and that progress is challenging at times, but it's also extremely rewarding.
Well, I really agree with that regarding if a person's not growing, can business grow? I think that's a great point. And you see it again and again. What are some of the things when you're not working you like to do? What are some of your fun hobbies and things?
Recently, I've gotten into karting, go-karting, and driving fast cars. So I signed up for an F4 car class. I signed up for an F1 experience in Dubai. I was in Dubai a couple weeks ago, and there was a maintenance problem with the car, so they canceled it. So the experience we get to drive an F1 car, I think it's like 10 laps around the track. So I'm into those sort of things. I like high risk activities. Maybe that's why I like cybersecurity.
That's right. That's right. I did the F1 experience maybe 10 years ago or something. It was fantastic. A lot of fun.
Okay, awesome.
I too like my adrenaline endeavors, bobsledding, crazy things. Well, lots of different things, but very cool. So what's a personal challenge you've overcome? And we'll get to the business in a second, but I think for me, it's kind of like you said, is business a reflection of the person. And for me, it's knowing a little bit about the person really helps me understand the business a little bit better too.
Well, there's been lots of personal challenges. I would say one that was the most recent and probably one of the most challenging was in 2022, early 2022. I was still working for the parent company to which I sold my first cybersecurity business to. And while I was working for them, I developed 6 blood clots on my left leg and almost died. So thanks to a medical device, a portable Doppler ultrasound, they were able to quickly diagnose those blood clots. And I often think today, since we at Blue Goat Cyber help secure medical technology, I often think, what if that device gave a misdiagnosis, or what if it was recalled because somebody hacked into it? And if that happened, I may not be here. So that was super challenging. I went through a pretty big bout of depression because I went from running the Ironman triathlon, climbing mountains, traveling all the time, to being told like, oh, that's off the table. Literally everything I used to do in my life when I was recovering from those blood clots, they said I could not do. Couldn't even sit in a freaking hot tub. For instance, not like I like hot tubs that much, but it's like I couldn't hike, couldn't run, couldn't ride my bike. I couldn't travel. I couldn't do Ironman triathlon. And before this, I had done 24 Ironman triathlons. And the night before I found out about the blood clots, I literally did 120 burpees. So I was in good shape and didn't think blood clots happened to people like me that were in super good shape. So yeah, it took me quite some time to get over that resulting depression. And I remember one day I was looking at these blood thinners and I'm like, I just threw them across the room. I'm like, I'm not taking these anymore. I'm going to go get every blood test possible, get another ultrasound done on my leg, and just reclaim my health. And once I made that decision, it gave me the confidence to start a new business. Because before that, I was just surviving, not really thriving.
That's interesting. I often say the same thing: survive, to thrive, and then thrive. There's a big difference, that's for sure. I'm glad you're okay, and thank gosh you had the courage to stick with it and regain your health. That's a heck of a story. So, with the military to business transition, what did you learn in the military and the Air Force that translates well? It's insights that you've used again and again to help you build your business?
I think one of the biggest lessons I learned in the Air Force is really teamwork and leadership. In the military, you're in a squadron, you've got a team, you're always trying to accomplish things together. And it's evident if you're following somebody else, like who's a good leader, who's not so good of a leader. So it's really like a lot of leadership skills I think I developed, and plus understanding the team dynamics and how to work within a team as well. I think those are a couple of the major things I took away from the military.
That makes a lot of sense. It's interesting. When we work with the founders, we often see a difference, what I call it coachable. People coachable
Mhm.
or are they not? And it's a big indicator as to how well they can lead and grow themselves and lead the company. It is being able to engage with that. It's very interesting.
Yeah, someone told me, they were a guest on my podcast just the other day, that he's a coach, a business coach. He said there's really two types of people, those that want to get it right and those that want to be right. And he said he does not ever want to be with one that wants to be right because they're not coachable.
Get it right or be right.
Yeah.
That's a great insight. I was just listening to one of your podcasts this morning, and I thought it was really interesting. There's the debate of insecure versus unsecure. I thought that was a fun little piece, that's for sure. Now, in the Air Force, what did you do in the Air Force? I forgot to ask that earlier.
I joined the Air Force to fly jets, but I cut all the pilot slots 2 years before I graduated. So I ended up being a communications officer where I helped protect classified networks and built networks as well that were secure.
Got it. So that tells a lot of background as to Blue Goat Cyber and your experience and everything. Got it. Okay. Very cool. So tell us about Blue Goat Cyber.
Blue Goat focuses on MedTech cybersecurity. We help MedTech innovators, somebody with a new product that has a software component. We help them accelerate its time to market by helping them with the cybersecurity. And we become their partner until that device gets cleared by the FDA in the United States or MDR in Europe or whichever regulatory authority. That involves all the documentation, all the risk assessment, all the penetration testing or ethical hacking, all the analysis of the software. So we basically try to get that device down to where the risk is an acceptable level of risk in terms of patient harm. So somebody compromises the device, it cannot harm a patient, because some of these devices, like a surgical robot, if it's performing the surgery on your back, somebody hacks into it, it could paralyze you. A device like in vitro diagnostics, if it's intended to give a diagnosis very quickly of what's wrong with you and then recommend a course of treatment, if that's delayed and you have something like sepsis, which means your blood is toxic, then you could die within 24 hours. It's a more impactful medical device cybersecurity than I like to call traditional cybersecurity, which is like protecting your credit card numbers and your health information. We're actually making sure these devices can't kill somebody or harm somebody.
Protecting lives.
Yeah, so protecting lives and also helping these new technologies get to market. And that's what's very thrilling about it, exciting. Like you have these passionate people innovating something that's going to change humanity, and we can help them and be along that ride with them.
You know, it's somewhat similar. I can't remember who it was, but there's some founder I met in the past 3 years. He had a geolocating solution that he was installing in different medical devices because his son got sick and they couldn't find the device they needed in the hospital to save his life. They eventually did, but it caused irreparable damage to the young man. Protecting your devices and knowing where they are is hugely important these days. Now, what about after the devices are, I'll say, released to the wild or past the FDA and they're in the hospitals and doctors' offices? How does that all work?
Yeah, so there's really a few parts of the devices. There's a pre-market portion, which is before it's on the market. We do all the work for that to help it get cleared. Once it's cleared and on the market, that's called post-market. We set up an annual contract with a client to continuously monitor that device for new vulnerabilities. We have a portal where somebody can log a vulnerability if they find one. And we work with the client to triage anything that comes in or anything we discover and mitigate the risk.
That's amazing. Okay, very cool. And so I think I know why you started your business. And funny enough, the other question I asked is, why are you the unique one to start the business? And I think I get that too, because of the challenges that you faced and your experience within the Air Force and cybersecurity. So it makes a lot of sense. Let's see, what else? What other questions do we have here? What's helped you scale your business?
I would say experience. My first business, it took me 6 years to get to where, this business, what took me 6 years in my first business, we've already surpassed in a year and a half in top line revenue. So paying that dumb.
Congratulations.
So thank you. And it's niching down. So my first business, we did medical device cybersecurity as well, but it was one part of cybersecurity that we did. Blue Goat Cyber, we focus on medical device cybersecurity. And I think one of the problems I had in my first business and why I couldn't scale is I had a diluted message. I was trying to sell cybersecurity to everybody, so my message didn't land with anybody. Now I know exactly who I'm selling to, what problems we're solving, where these people are. So it's a lot easier to get prospects, get people in your pipeline, and scale your business when you have a very specific niche down message and targeted audience, which I did not have in my first business.
It can make all the difference in the world, can't it? I mean, just so much more focused and know how to go about get into business. That's for sure. Very cool.
It may I'm just slow or something. I have an MBA. I don't think the MBA helped me with business at all, to be honest. There's really nothing in my MBA program, I think. Maybe how to read a balance sheet or something that I found useful for my first business. So I just had to try it and make the mistakes and try to learn as quickly as possible and learn to be resourceful and resilient, basically.
Yeah. It's one of those things I say in the military taught me was adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Yeah.
Once you get it out there, the product, the service, how do you adapt it? How do you improvise? And how do you overcome those next obstacle? And so actually come to that question. What's an opportunity or obstacle that you face that you think other founders, and by the way, niching down is a great learning moment, but what's another opportunity or obstacle that you face and overcome successfully with Blue Goat?
I think there's two things. One of them is niching down. It's also getting your messaging very precise and specific. Like, what specific problem do you solve? What is the benefit to your ideal client? How do you solve that different than your competitors? Like for me, we're fans of the Donald Miller brand script, the story brand script. It's a really good framework to walk through when you're trying to figure out your messaging. So I think that is extremely important. And that should, when you're communicating with your clients, that should be how you communicate with them the right way. It's because it's not about you. A lot of businesses make this mistake and talk about how great they are over and over, and nobody cares. A client or a prospect wants to hear that you understand their problem and you're in a position where you can guide them to solve their problem. And they'll pay for that solving of the problem. They don't really want you just to brag about how great you are. So it's position yourself as the guide where the prospect is the hero and ultimately the prospect turns into the client in the story. So that's one thing. And then the second is really figuring out what you're going to do to get leads. I think a lot of people stand up a business and they're not really sure, or they don't have a strategy on how to get leads. With my business, I believe inbound leads trump outbound. So we spent lots of time search engine optimizing our website, tweaking Google Ads, so we have a good inbound lead flow. And then you also have to think, what if Google changes the algorithm? That may not work. So now we're developing partnerships with people, going to conferences and networking. So we have to constantly evolve our messaging and our strategy to attract the right people to us and to find the right people. Those two tie together, right?
Absolutely.
The messaging and the SEO. You have to have them both tied together.
Right. That's right. And your key audience or your key customers are the manufacturers themselves, the people that are going through the FDA process.
That's correct.
Well, before we go, first of all, thank you so much. Who's another MilCom founder that you've seen that's inspired you and great example that we might want to bring on the show?
There's Chris Prentice. He is going to be at this event I'm going to next week. I actually don't know him, but he has a very successful MedTech company, and I plan to connect with him at the event.
Great. Very cool.
Well, there's a lot of them, but that one comes to mind because I see his name, and another veteran founder is going to be at the same event that I'm going to be at. And he said, we should try to find academy graduates at this event. And I never thought about that for that way. I was just thinking about my target audience, but that's another way to connect with people as well.
Absolutely. And what's the name of Chris's business?
I can't think of, I think LEM Surgical or something.
Got it. Okay. Very cool. So we'd like to say thank you for coming on the show today, Christian. And we're going to donate $100 to the Dick Loger Scholarship Fund for your time and insights, the very valuable insights, the niching down, the coaching points, and a number of other ones. The Dick Loger Scholarship Fund is in honor of both my grandfathers who pinned my bars on me, which was amazing. And one of them was my grandpa Logus. And that scholarship goes to somebody, a MilCom family, the child of a MilCom family, and or that wants to go to college or to a accredited trade school. Really appreciate it and look forward to catching up with you soon. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks for joining us on the MilCom Founders Podcast. If you know a MilCom founder with a story to share, reach out to us at milcomfounders.com. For each guest on our show, One Degree Financial donates $100 to the Dick Logus Veteran Entrepreneur Scholarship Fund, supporting education for children of a MilCom business owner. Stay ready.